Well, guys, I did just check the forecast back here for the rest of the afternoon. Our Wild Thing AccuWeather forecast calls for mostly cloudy skies, kind of an overcast afternoon here in the upper Wisconsin Dells. Chance of showers of 100%. But on the plus side, I did just save a bunch of money on my boat insurance by switching to Geico. The cliff on the right-hand side of the boat, that is High Rock over there. Got its name because it's a great big high rock. Not very creative, I guess, here in the Wisconsin Dell. And the other half of the gateway is off to the left-hand side of the boat. That is Romance Cliff over there on our left. And that one got its name because of that heart shape up there toward the top. Aww. Maybe it looks like a heart, maybe it looks a little bit more like a broken heart over there on the left side, or maybe it just looks like a big old butt crack, I don't know. That's not too romantic, I guess, big old bent over butt crack. Either way, Romance Cliff on the left, High Rock right behind us, the gateway to the Upper Dells. Next little rock formation we'll be checking out is called Chimney Rock, directly in front of the boat. You guys will see a little sandstone column sticking up about 12 feet high right in front of us there. Supposed to look like a chimney, an old-time stick and mortar style chimney that the pioneers were building on their log cabins way back in the day. So it's on our right-hand side right now. There's Chimney Rock. Well, I suppose if your chimneys at home are starting to look like that these days, you might want to get those inspected by a professional. That's not good. Now we do have one more rock formation to check out in this section of the river coming up straight in front of the boat. Once again, that big old cliff face sticking out at a weird angle. It's called Chief Black Hawk's Profile. Might take a little bit of imagination on your guys' part, but it's supposed to look like the side view or the profile view of Chief Black Hawk's face. So if you start up there at the top of that rock cliff and work your way down the edge, you can see a couple of indents for his eyes. He's got a great big slanted nose, little rock ledge further down for a mouth. And if you really use your imagination, or else maybe you just had a few too many Bloody Marys already this morning, you can see those trees up there toward the top start to look like a ceremonial Native American headdress. So everyone able to see Chief Black Hawk right there? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Not enough to drink yet today. All right, thumbs up, mostly anyway.
Sí, se ve así.
Yo dije que iba a sacar.
Alright guys, we are just about to enter a pretty narrow section of the Wisconsin River here. This is also a little bit of a no-wake zone, so we'll be going nice and slow for just a couple minutes. So feel free to grab your phones, grab your cameras once again while we're going nice and slow here. Take a few selfies, maybe update your Instagram, check your Facebook, catch a few Pokemon. I don't know if you guys do that anymore, but either way we'll be going nice and slow for just a couple minutes here. Now this entire little no-wake zone we're maneuvering through right now, this is referred to as the Narrows of the Wisconsin River. It's only about 55 feet wide at its narrowest point. Now coming up right in front of the boat, you guys might be able to tell we are just about to go around a pretty tight corner. This hard left-hand turn straight ahead. This is referred to as the Devil's Elbow. Pretty scary, huh?
Yeah.
It might not seem so scary today, but things looked a little bit different around here about 150 years ago. That was back before we had a hydroelectric dam here in the Wisconsin Dell. Water levels going through the Narrows here were about 20 feet lower than you see them today. Whitewater rapids, whirlpools, jagged rocks sticking out everywhere. This is a very treacherous area for the lumberjacks back in the 1840s and 1850s. Those lumberjacks were trying to ride their pine log rafts all the way down the Wisconsin River and the Mississippi River to get all the lumber from northern Wisconsin down to St. Louis, Missouri. And by far the most dangerous and treacherous part of that entire downriver rafting journey was right here in the Devil's Elbow. This area claimed the lives of several of those lumberjacks between 1840 and 1858. That is originally how it got its name. Now, one of those lumberjacks was a guy named Leroy Gates, and over here on the left-hand side of the boat, you guys will see a little spot where Leroy Gates carved his name into the sandstone over 150 years ago. If you guys look kind of straight ahead and a little bit to the left, right on the face of that flat rock wall, you should be able to see some letters carved into the sandstone. If anybody can see them, maybe point them out to the folks around you. Make sure everybody's looking the right way. There we go. It's pretty hard to read, but that says Leroy Gates, Dells and River Pilot from 1849 to 58. Once again, straight in front of us there from left to right, that says Leroy Gates, Dells and River Pilot from 1849 to 58. Now, Leroy was one of the more skillful rivermen from right here in the Wisconsin Dells. He actually got so good at riding the rapids through the Devil's Elbow here that people would pay him to take their cargo through this section of the river. So he made a pretty good living for himself doing that dangerous work up until 1858. That was the year the railroad came through town and put a lot of those lumberjacks out of work. So Leroy basically retired at the tail end of the 1850s and ended up starting up one of the very first photo studios here in the Midwest. So that was Leroy Gates over there making his mark on the river over 150 years ago. Now guys, back in the day, a few years ago, we used to be able to get right through the Devil's Elbow and then get back up to full throttle almost right away. But a couple summers back, the DNR decided it would be a great idea to extend the no-wake zone by about 35 yards in front of us here. And yeah, at this point in the summer, I just can't afford any more tickets. So we're just going to take her easy for one more minute. But in the meantime, you guys will get a pretty good look at Chief Blackhawk's Island. That's also on our left-hand side here. This is where they supposedly captured Chief Blackhawk. He was that Native American warrior chief we were talking about a few minutes ago. He was the chief of the Sauk and Fox Native American tribes here in southern Wisconsin and the northern part of Illinois up until the fall of 1832 when he was captured at the very end of the Black Hawk War. He was supposedly captured by the federal government somewhere on this 55-acre island on our left-hand side. Now today, Chief Blackhawk's Island is protected by the state of Wisconsin, so we won't be seeing any more of those water parks or t-shirt shops around here anytime soon.
Sí, se ve
A
conectado.
little bit more about this boat you're riding aboard here today before we crank the throttle back up and exit the no-wake zone. You guys are all riding aboard Wild Thing number 4. This boat is 40 feet long, about 14 feet wide, weighs in at a little over 15,000 pounds, and it's made out of aluminum. Now, usually people are pretty interested to know what is powering the boat back here. We have 3 great big Chevy Vortec V8 engines, and each one of those 6-liter Vortec V8s is hooked up to its own individual Hamilton 212 turbojet pump. And all 3 of these water jets produce over 20,000 pounds of thrust. So that is what's getting us up and down the river all summer long. And as you might expect, this is not the most fuel-efficient boat out here on the Wisconsin River. Each trip, we're going through about 21 gallons of premium unleaded fuel. And I'll show you guys one last little rock formation over here on the right-hand side of the boat before we crank the speed back up. Coming up to the front right-hand side, you guys will see a big flat piece of sandstone propped up against the shoreline, kind of leaning over against the shoreline on our right-hand side. That is the Giant's Shield. Supposed to look a little bit like a big old shield that a giant might carry into battle. Now, believe it or not, the highest I've ever seen the water level here in the upper dells is right at the very top of that Giant's Shield. That whole thing was completely underwater for about 2.5 weeks during the fall of 2011. So that's about 7 or 8 feet higher than the river you're looking at today. Pretty crazy. All right, guys, as we exit the no-wake zone, next stop for us is going to be another one of those rocky islands here in the upper dells. Our next stop is Steamboat Rock. About to make our way around Steamboat Rock here. Little river channel right around the backside of Steamboat Rock called Lover's Lane. So that's right, if you are sitting next to that special someone, feel free to show them a little love and affection going through Lover's Lane here. Give them a great big hug, or I don't know, maybe even give them a wet, sloppy $20 bill.
Ya mejor dame la jugadera.
¿Qué te la vas a poner? Aquí no habíamos entrado la vez pasada.
Steamboat Rock, that's the name of that big rock island on our left-hand side. It got its name way back in 1868 from a guy named H.H. Bennett, Henry Hamilton Bennett. He was the very first guy to take photos of all the weird-looking rock formations, caves, and caverns here in the Wisconsin Dells. And right up there at the top of the stairs, straight in front of the boat, that is the Chula Vista Water Park and Resort. Of course, Chula Vista gets its name from a Spanish word or phrase, which means pretty view. And we all know what it means in English, pretty expensive. Oh, but you're all weak, folks, thanks. Now, as we make our way out of Lover's Lane around the backside of Steamboat Rock here, next stop for us is going to be the Wisconsin River Bay. We're actually headed up toward the northernmost point in the entire Wisconsin Dells. That is coming up a few miles north of here. We are headed for Louis Bluff.
As I'm lying next to someone new, drink without you.
Prepárate.
right, give you guys a little break out there for just a minute or two. How's everybody doing? Still hanging on? You guys okay? All right, haven't lost anybody yet. I think we might actually be going for an all-time record here. I was hoping that Seagull wasn't going to drop a bomb on anybody. That was a close one. Yeah, this might actually be an all-time record for me, guys. This would be my 4th tour in a row where nobody flies out of the boat, so that'd be pretty good. All right, welcome to the Wisconsin River Bay here, everybody. Yep, this is just about the widest section of the entire Wisconsin River right here in the River Bay. It's just about a mile between the banks from shoreline to shoreline. Now, any further to the north that you guys look straight in front of the boat, you won't really see too many more of those Wisconsin Dell sandstone rock formations on either side of the Wisconsin River. That is because we have just about reached the northernmost point here in the Wisconsin Dells. That great big tree-covered hill or bluff right in front of the boat there, that is Louis Bluff. Now, Louis Bluff kind of marks the upper edge of the upper Dells. Any further to the north that you guys would travel on the river, it does get very shallow. A lot of tree stumps, a lot of sandbars for the next few miles. So we're going to be turning our boat around pretty shortly here. We'll be headed downriver for the remainder of today's tour, all the way back down there through the Narrows, through the Devil's Elbow, and we'll see if we can stop at a couple other interesting spots along the way. So downriver, here we go.
Es como su límite, ¿no?
Eso de ser bien chido.
Not getting any sleep, trying to read the signs. I don't know how much more I can take, how much longer I can wait before I lose my mind. You, for heaven's sake, you take my breath away when you're not even trying. You got me wondering why. Oh, what if you were mine? Oh baby, come on and say it now. Just let the words come out. Tell me you love me. It's easy to say what's on your mind. Say it a million times. Tell me you love me.
Alright guys, just a real short intermission here. I think I got a stick caught in my jet on my back deck, so I'll be about 30 seconds.
Que nos lleve el agua. Pues en my jet ski. ¿Verdad?
No, ¿por qué no se siente tan feo?
Eso es lo que
Está
tú
bueno.
piensas. No ponía los caballitos.
A mí tampoco me gusta. Pero sí.
¿Quién sabe nadar? Porque ya de aquí para
Oh baby, come on and say it now. Just let the words come out. Tell me you love me. It's easy to say what's on your mind. Say it a million times.
Que se lo lleve de recuerdo.
Say it now.
guys one more little break out there for just a minute while we check out a couple of these rocky cliffs over here on the eastern shore. So feel free to grab your cameras for the next minute or
Es que
two here.
quiero tomar la cabina del muchacho. La cabina del muchacho.
Ah, ¿será?
Ay, mira, es que te atraviesas.
All right, a couple of great big rocky cliffs to check out right here in front of the boat. This first one on the left-hand side, that is Signal Point over there. Now, Signal Point got its name way back in the
Yo
day
tengo
from those
frío.
Native Americans. They
Y
used
eso
to
que
light
trae la
campfires
sudadera.
up on
Sí,
top
pero
of the
sí hace
cliffside,
frío.
send smoke signals right across the Wisconsin River just to let their fellow tribesmen know whether or not it was
Está de
safe to
nervios.
cross at that point in
Estás de
time.
nervios que ni frío
And
tienes.
this other great big rocky cliff we got right in front of the boat, this is Sunset Cliff.
Pero le hace falta, ¿no?
Sunset
Como
Cliff
más
here gets its name
velocidad.
just about the
Y más
time of night,
frenos
every
a la
night when the
esa.
sun's starting to go down
¿Sí?
over there in the western skies. Those last few rays of sunshine will reflect off of that rocky cliffside, light that whole thing up a bright orangish yellow color. It's actually pretty cool. A lot of us jet boat pilots and tour guides and duck drivers, we all like coming up here sometimes after a long day of work. We'll grab the pontoon boat, grab a few 30 packs, Coca-Cola,